I remember we sent our oldest son with him because we were worried that if he went by himself that, something might happen like that. So we were actually kind of pre-prepared for the cops to, harass him because we knew that he was going to speak up.
Because you're wasting our time and we're dying. People have died from this damn water, and all you guys can sit up there and just pretend like it's no big deal.
Well, it was phrased to me by a source as kind of the governor's fixer, so to speak. Richard Baird was known in Michigan government as Snyder's, right-hand man. There's been public reports of him threatening, local union leaders.
Alan Swift, this is Rich Baird. I didn't figure you would pick up on this call. It would take courage to talk to me face to face. Number one, you better be careful. I may be suing you.
Threatening state politicians in Michigan on behalf of the governor. So obviously you didn't know all that, but so Richard Baird shows up in your house. Who was with him in your house during this meeting?
So we had Scott Hippica, which he introduced himself as a Black Ops Marine that would do anything for Richard Baird, and including getting his coffee or picking up his dog poop. And I was like, so you will do literally anything for him, right? And when he said that, I felt very threatened, because why would you introduce yourself as a Black Ops Marine that will do anything for this man? So him having that kind of security with him made me uncomfortable right away. We explained to him our situation, that we found what much more than just lead and copper in the water. We showed him the results from Scott Smith's testing, which is this has got aluminum and so many other toxins besides just the lead and copper. So he saw that we had all this evidence. We tell him that Adam's suffering from all those health ailments, the sweating, the seizures, the brain fog, the not being able to drive down the road that he's driven around so many times and getting lost, not being able to watch the kids at the time. Just so many things that he wasn't in control of anymore. His health was just going quickly. And they said, well, maybe we could get a pilot program running, and, and we don't have to label it anything. And the government will give out an X amount of dollars for any pilot program. And it doesn't need any explanation. So that kind of threw up a red flag to me right away, because if the government can give money for a pilot program that needs no title to it, then they could just basically give us this money and throw out what it was for. So me right away, I was thinking, even though they said, if it works for Adam, we'll do it for you, Christina, and the kids and the rest of the city. It wasn't just me and the kids. It was me, the kids, and the rest of the city. And we're like, wow, really? They're going to do this? Because people are, already dying at the time. They ordered us to start calling doctors, holistic care doctors, to find out which one would treat us, or treat Adam, I should say. And so we were trying to call them, but because we were saying, well, the state's going to pay for it, but it's not going to be through insurance, they're just going to pay for it, they kept hanging up on us. They were like, oh, well, we don't want to, no, thank you. So I actually texted Cheryl Thompson and called either Richard Baird or Scott Hippica, and I didn't get an answer for them. So I texted Cheryl Thompson. I said, so what do I do? Because none of the doctors want to work with us because we're saying you guys are going to pay for it, and they don't want anything to do with you because they've been threatened. And they didn't unacknowledge the fact that they've been threatened. They just said, don't tell them the state's paying for it. tell them an anonymous donor is going to pay for it and see what happens then.
Can you back up? Can you back up for a second? What do you mean that the doctors had been threatened by the state? In what way?
I can't mention her name. I promised her I never would. And she's, on with her life and hopefully happy. But there were 2 holistic care doctors when we found out that that was the type of care we needed before we even talked to the Baird at this meeting and any of this happened. We were looking for a holistic care doctor that was covered under insurance. She was the only one that would help with Medicaid with some of it. She told us in the office that her and another doctor offered to do the city of Flint for $150,000 right when the water crisis happened. They turned them down. They said, we will treat the entire city for lead poisoning for $150,000. And they turned them down and told them, if you open your mouth, we're shutting you down.
They offered the Snyder administration this.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Wow.
Yeah.
So
I can't.
No, I understand. Totally get it. So, okay. So they tell you pilot program, your ex-husband said he was told, we're going to make you the face of Flint. We're going to.
The lead poster child of Flint.
Yeah,
they wanted to make him the lead poster child of Flint. And that's when Baird kind of put his hand on the back of Adam and kind of gave him a pat and said, well, I got to go. And I'm going to make you the lead poster child of Flint. And he disappeared out the door.
What did they tell you in terms of making this public?
Yeah, in the media part, they said that because they knew that they weren't going to be able to shut us up about the treatment and like what has happened in our life. But they said, you are not allowed to tell anybody who's paying for this right now, and I said, well, can we still talk about the treatment and how it's working? And they said, yes, you can talk about the treatment and how it's working, but you are not to speak about who's paying for it right now. Mm-hmm. And we figure out what we're going to do after Adam shows some progress.
Mm-hmm. And they promised that you were breastfeeding at the time. So they promised that when you were done, you'd get it?
Yeah. And then when I texted him that I was done breastfeeding, I got the runaround. Basically, I got to talk to Richard. Let me see. I'll get back with you in a couple days. And then the divorce happened. After the divorce, I tried to contact Cheryl Thompson, Richard Baird, any of them. And I'm like, okay, so are you guys just going to leave me in the dark because of Adam leaving? And I never got a response from any of them. I think I called them and I just kind of gave up at that point because I knew I was going to have to find a way to fix myself.
And let me ask you, because while you were still married to Adam, if they framed this to you in that meeting as, if we start seeing progress in Adam, we'll make it available to other people. My understanding is, I'm not a doctor, so I don't really want to advocate or not advocate for it. But from what your experience was, Adam started feeling progress relatively early. Like the seizures were getting better.
Yep.
His cognitive problems were getting better. And you guys were communicating that to them, correct?
Yep.
And
yeah, we were.
So obviously they then made it available to the rest of the Flint, right?
I wish that were true, but nope, they just kept giving us the runaround.
In your impression, was Richard Baird there on his own? Or was Governor Snyder aware that his top advisor was meeting with families like yours and making these kind of deals? Did he say anything to you that made you think Governor Snyder knew?
Oh, yeah, definitely. He said he was going to go back to the office and run this by him. I remember that very clearly. I don't know if it got recorded or not. I don't have any, I can't get my hands on the audio, but
because you guys did record the meeting.
Yeah, we recorded the meeting, and So there is evidence of a meeting if they want to deny it. There's also evidence in my email and evidence in my phone and evidence spread all over the place. So,
And by the way, I just want the audience to know, and then we'll move on to the lead abatement. Attorney General Nessel could say whatever she wants, and her office could say whatever they want, but they know about this because I brought it to them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I've spoken to the Attorney General's office about the whole thing, and that's a work in progress, I guess.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything.
Sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted the audience to know that he said I don't know if he did tell the governor or he didn't, but it seems kind of far-fetched to believe a top advisor to the governor is going around Flint having these meetings and kind of by everything I've heard, making offers to pay off very loud residents without the governor knowing.
No, the governor knew, because he wouldn't say the governor's my best friend since grade school, and I'm here. I don't want to second guess myself, but I know that he said he was going back to run this by Snyder, but I don't remember when he came in the door if he said, I'm here on the behalf of Snyder.
Right.
But I know when he left, he said, I'm bringing this to Snyder and see if I can get this pilot program going.
And didn't he describe to you, how did he describe Snyder?
As his best friend.
Okay.
If I may, I would like to just say, Cheryl, Richard, Scott, you made a promise to a family to let me and my kids not die, and you haven't returned my phone calls. And why not? Why haven't you told Governor Whitmer about my family and about the other families in Flint that you were going to help? And why is it okay for you to just forget about us and leave us here to die? I really would like to know why you guys didn't return my phone calls and why you left me and my kids here to die.
Looking back, do you feel that Governor Snyder's right-hand man paid you off? Or was trying to pay your family off?
Yeah, I mean, in a way, if it wasn't with money, it was with health, but yeah.
Yeah. And I want the audience to understand, I mean, I'll tell you the truth.
I didn't get the health, though.
But if I were you, and I was having seizures and memory loss, and I was forgetting, I'm driving and I can't remember how to get places, and I can't take care of my kids, and I'm just falling apart, and my wife is not feeling good, and the government's in my living room saying, we'll pay for your treatment, I would take it too. I think people on the outside sometimes judge, but if you're not in that situation, and by the way, if they say, like, if they're stroking your humanity and saying you're going to be the face of Flint, if it works for you, we're going to make it available to everybody. Well, I would feel like, wow, maybe something good could come out of this. You didn't have any reason to think they were lying to you at the time. I don't think.
No, we didn't. We didn't think they were lying to us at the time. But we didn't trust anybody really at the time. So we were excited, but with pause. Mm-hmm. Like, is this really going to happen? And it took a long time to find a doctor that would actually work with us. And then, and then Adam was just getting worse and worse and worse. So it was like a race against time. Just like recently, it was a race against time for me because my symptoms were getting worse and worse and worse. So I had a stroke, like, the week we were talking, the first week we were talking, I've had the shakes myself, the tremors myself, the sweats during the day or at night. I was down to 99 pounds at one time. I did gain some weight back. And my brain cognitive function was going downhill quickly. I couldn't think of small words like, the and is. I was missing words. I still am missing words when I'm talking. And the pain, it's caused rheumatoid arthritis that does not run in my family. And the pain is every day from sun up to my sleep, through my sleep. I get up 5-6 times a night, just excruciating pain in all of my bones, in my brain. I have frontal lobe damage. They call it microabrasions because they discovered white matter in the front, and they believe that is caused from basically the heavy metals cutting up my tissues in my brain. And it's called microabrasions because basically they're floating around and they're just causing these little tears in the tissue. And so until that stuff is properly pulled out, you're probably going to see an increase in like brain damage, brain tissue, tumors throughout the city, things of that nature. I have heard actually a few people having brain tumors recently. What else? I mean, it's a long list.
Well, I remember because, I've been to Flint a lot, like at least 15 times in the last few years. And several of those trips, I spoke with you at your house, just doing follow-up reporting. I found out about this quite a while ago. And I remember one time I left my laptop there. I don't know if you remember that. So I had to come back to get my laptop. It was probably like 9 o'clock at night. And you opened the door, and I just remember you were having like heart palpitations, it seemed. And I don't live in Flint, so I'm not living with this day to day. And I said, do you need to go to the hospital? I didn't know if you were having a heart attack or something. And you were just like, no, this happens like every day.
Yeah, I get this. I'm glad you brought that. I'm glad you're on the facts. I do get this pain in my chest, and I am worried that the attack could happen again and give me a stroke or a heart attack that could take me out. So I'm very, very careful of how much energy I expend every day.
We obtain confidential documents as part of this story. We obtain documents from the criminal investigation. So we found out that Richard Baird, the governor's right-hand man who was in your living room offering you this treatment, he said to the special prosecutor that Flint residents, quote, blame the water for everything from bunions to sore throats to a pimple on your butt, okay? Then he said, I probably shouldn't have said that on the record. What's your response to Richard Baird?
You don't care about us, and you obviously are okay with not returning my phone calls and leaving me to die with that kind of statement, because I never had any of these problems before the water, and now I have a ton of problems. I didn't even take one prescription before the water except for prenatal vitamins to have children. And now I'm on 15 different pills, some prescriptions and some supplements, and I'm getting 5 more pills added to that. And for you not to care, to say something that horrible, it just proves that, to me, common sense, that you're just guilty of just wanting to go around and cover it up in the first place.
Do you think he and Governor Snyder should be prosecuted?
Oh, to the fullest, both of them. They know what was going on. Anybody that helps cover up this situation is helping murdering people.
Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.